Good morning, YouTube. Lion Unleashed here at the Green Thumbs Garden channel. This morning we took a trip to our local Lowe's Garden Center here in Tifton, Georgia. As you recall in our previous video on our 2-foot by 4-foot hugelkultur garden planter, our red bell peppers didn't germinate in that planter this year. So we came down to our local Lowe's here on Highway 82. This is not an endorsement for Lowe's or any of the products you may see in this video. At any rate, we found these red bell peppers here, plants, the seedlings. They're actually the Bonnie variety, and they have this container of 6 bell pepper plants for only $3.78 here at the garden center. So we're gonna grab these. We also grabbed a couple of things, a couple of plants from Walmart here next door, also on Highway 82. And it's not an endorsement for Walmart, but we grabbed a couple of things from Walmart also. And we're going to show you what everything that we got when we get back to the Green Thumbs Gardening Channel location here in Tifton, Georgia. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Hang tight. Greetings, YouTube. Lion Unleashed here at the Green Thumbs Gardening Channel. If you recall from one of our previous videos on our 2-foot by 4-foot hugelkultur garden planter, in which we planted mint, broccoli, California red bell peppers, and big boy tomatoes, the slicing variety, our bell peppers actually didn't germinate this year. So as we told you in a follow-up video to that video, we actually went down to our local Lowe's Garden Center here on Highway 82 in Tifton, Georgia. And they had a crate of 6 green bell pepper plants, the seedlings, for only $3.98. And we thought that was a great deal. So what we did was here at our at the Green Thumbs Garden Channel in our front yard, if you recall from our muscadine video, we have an island here in our front yard. As you come into the driveway, we have an island over there in the front yard. And typically we don't plant anything there on that island. We just reseed it every year with some good grass seeds and let it turn nice and green during the spring and summer months. But this year we actually planted muscadine grapevines over there. We have an update on those coming soon. But here in the front of this island, we decided to utilize that space to make a small garden bed here for our 6 bell pepper plants. This spot gets 8 to 10 hours of direct sunlight every day here in our front yard. And as you know, bell pepper plants, all pepper plants, they love sunlight. So we thought this would be a great location to plant them. We couldn't actually plant them in our hugelkultur 2-foot by 4-foot garden planter, as our big boy tomatoes have grown fairly large, our broccoli has grown fairly large, and our mint has grown actually fairly large. There's actually no room in there for them. So this is actually an only option for us, actually planting those here in the ground. And as you know, we typically plant everything in planters here at the Green Thumbs Gardening Channel, but we decided to do something different here in this location here. We're actually going to transplant the seedlings from the small crate that they came in into larger pots. We're going to plant the entire pot here in this area. We're going to fill the area around them in with topsoil, garden soil, a mixture of topsoil, compost, and garden soil, and then we're going to mulch this entire area. And as the seedlings get large enough to where they need to be transplanted, we're simply going to pull those pots, rake the mulch back, pull those pots out, transplant those seedlings into larger pots, make a slightly larger hole in the same spot here in this bed, and replant the larger pot here. We're doing this because the soil here in our front yard, as you recall from some of our previous videos, is very, very poor. We have soil that is a mixture of lime rock, clay, and river rock here in our front yard, and it's virtually impossible to grow anything. That's one of the reasons why we actually built this island here in this front yard, that island there, that island over there, and that island over there. We actually hauled in about approximately 4 inches of topsoil over there. We hauled in 8 inches of topsoil here and 8 inches of topsoil over there on that island there, in order to plant grass here when we first moved in. At any rate, so we're going to transplant those seedlings into larger pots, plant the entire pots here in the ground. As the seedlings grow large enough to be where they need to be transplanted again, or planted into the ground. We just typically transplant those into larger pots and replant those larger pots here in the ground. That way we don't actually have to ever worry about actually utilizing this very poor soil here in our front yard. At any rate, YouTube, we'll bring you guys back with an update on what we're doing here once we get this garden bed area here complete. Hang tight. All right, YouTube. So as you can see, we already have one of our green bell pepper seedlings transplanted from this small little crate thing to a much larger pot, and we're gonna plant that entire pot in the ground over there in our prepared bed area, along with the remaining 5 other seedlings that came in the this crate of 6 seedlings. At any rate, we just wanted to show you guys what we were doing. We're simply filling our pots a little over halfway with our potting soil, placing our seedling in the middle, of course removing it from this little plastic container, of course, and then filling the area around it with potting soil. It's nothing fancy, just transplanting to a larger pot. And also another note, we're not planting these any deeper than the original container. So we won't be planting these like way down in there. We actually put some soil in this pot first, enough to raise it up to about the rim level of this pot here, and then we'll plant this this seedling in this pot. At any rate, YouTube, hang tight, and we'll bring you guys back once we get the rest of our seedlings transplanted into larger pots. All right, YouTube, we're back, and as you can see, we have all 6 of our sweet red bell pepper seedlings transplanted from this small container into much larger individual containers. And as we mentioned earlier in the video, we're going to take these containers, we're going to plant the entire container in our prepared garden bed area over there at the front of our driveway, and we're going to lay a layer of garden soil and some other organic material in the garden bed around that, and then we're going to lay a layer of mulch on top of that. And once these seedlings reach the point where they're large enough that they require either being transplanted into the ground or into larger containers, we're simply going to rake the mulch back, pull the containers up out of the ground, transplant these plants into larger containers, and plant those larger containers back in the ground over there. We're doing that, as we mentioned earlier in the video, because we have very poor soil here. That way we never have to worry about these plants trying to draw nutrients from that type of soil over there. At any rate, we'll bring you guys back once we have these containers planted in the ground over there and layered with our organic material and mulch. Hang tight, YouTube. And we're back to show you the finished product of what our sweet red bell pepper garden bed looks like now that we have everything in place and have the entire area mulched. We're pretty pleased with the way things turned out, and we're going to give you guys a quick peek at what it looks like now that we're all done with it. Check that out, YouTube. As you recall, we purchased six sweet red bell pepper plants from our local Lowe's here on Highway 82 West here in Tifton, Georgia. And if you know anything about bell peppers, you know these guys like their space. They like to have at least from 18 to 24 inches of space in between them. So we chose this large area to plant them in, and we're actually used this garden bed to plant a fall or a winter crop once these guys run their cycle here in this bed. At any rate, YouTube, we really want to thank you guys for sticking around with us long enough to see what we're doing here with our garden bed and our red sweet bell peppers. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see in this video, please remember to hit that like, subscribe, and notification button at the bottom of this video so that you will be notified every time we upload new content. Thanks.